Welcome back to the Gem Fitness Podcast. I'm your host, Grace Moreno, aka Coach G. And if it's your first time tuning in, I'm so happy you're here. Hey. Today I'm going to share with you 5 advice that's going to help you on your fitness journey. Let's start off with the first one. If you're someone who struggles with being consistent, chances are you have a habit of talking yourself out of doing the things that you know you need to do to reach your goals or achieve the results that you are striving for. So, with that being said, I need you to be diligent and relentless at establishing and developing this habit, what I'm about to tell you right now, which is talk yourself into it. Yes. As much as you talk yourself out of the things that you swear was hella important, that you swear you was going to do, you swear you were going to lock in and get it done, you need to talk yourself into it. Every time that an excuse and a justification, a reasoning, whatever, okay, comes up, talk yourself into it. You can. At this point, if you listen to all the previous podcasts, you probably came across the 3 C's of crushing your excuses. You can apply that, yes. But also, another tip to that, to add to your toolbox, is just the developing a habit of like talking yourself into it. You're never gonna feel 100% motivated to do everything every day. You ain't gonna feel like it all the time, which means that you're gonna have to talk yourself into it. So, yeah, practice. Cool. The second advice that I have for you is that there is a dark side to being super self aware. As much as it is a strength, a power that we have, being super self aware when we are stuck in the thinking, the processing, the whatever have you, without any action, you don't even notice it, but you're stuck in rumination. And the people who are super self aware to a point that it's actually detrimental to themselves and their growth are the ones who say all the right things. They know their issues, they know their shortcomings, they know it all. They can tell you, they sound very sure of themselves. However, there is a big disconnect and a big gap between what they know and what they're doing. It's almost as if like they're so aware of their problem, they're so aware of what they need to do in order to get to where they need to be, but they're not where they need to be at all, or it's not happening. And so that gap right there is oftentimes caused by being stuck in the rumination, existing all in our head and not anywhere else, not in the doing, not in the being. And so it's not something to be ashamed of. Quite frankly, I'm a very self-aware person. And I have struggled with this before, and I still sometimes catch myself struggling with this, especially when it comes to being an entrepreneur. Like it's just so there's so many things, but I've come to learn that, like as much as self-aware as I am, it means nothing if I'm not backing it up with action, which is why I even came up with this saying where it's like, awareness is the finish line. But the amendment that I made to that, because everyone always says that awareness is the finish line. It's important. The awareness is the first step. No, like awareness is the finish line of one race and the start of another. You know what the next race is? Action. Action. And also, actually, before we can even like go into action, I think there is a level of like when you have the awareness, you think you have to move into acceptance, almost like forgiveness, like not letting it be bad or wrong that whatever you had realizations of what you've learned about yourself, just to kind of be like, you know what? It's all good. It's all good. I'm ready now to then take action that is more aligned with who I'm working to become or who I want to be, like the future version of myself or whatever, right? And so I think there is that in between. For the sake of simplicity, it's more of like awareness to action. But I think in the in between or even during that process of having the awareness, there's also this need to acceptance for yourself and for what happened and kind of like forgiveness too, if that feels right. But yeah, needless to say, self awareness can be a powerful thing to have, but just be aware that there's a dark side to it too, because too much self awareness and not enough action will just keep you stuck in the rumination. Yeah. And so I would. I would just take the time to reflect. Like, are you someone who know exactly what your issue is, know exactly what you need to do, but are not doing the things that you need to do? And your current approach is just like, I just need to be more disciplined. I just need to have more willpower. I just need to have like stay motivated. If that's how you operate, you're due for a not necessarily a come to Jesus moment, but just admit to yourself, or even just come to terms with yourself that yeah, you might be in just stuck in the rumination because maybe there's something that you're fearing on the other side of that, of just taking action. Because like that's the thing, right? Taking action requires something of us, and for every person is different. I can tell you this much, that all the times that I hesitated to take actions because there was a lot of uncertainty tied to it. And even on the business side, for me, and this will be a topic for another day because it's a whole thing. But for me, it was like, even though I was very aware and I had enough, I was equipped enough with the right tools and strategies and all of it, like I hesitated and I had a resistance with taking action because I was just like, oh my God, I was so scared of one, burning myself out again. I wasn't sure if this time would be any different. So I was hesitant. I'm like, why even try? Not, I don't even know. And what has helped me so much is just like baby steps. And a lot of it is affirming to myself too, and really getting into the nervous system regulation stuff. Like truly, I'm like having to create safety within myself to take action. And I'm no expert in this whatsoever, but I think it's just helpful to know as well that there is that dark side to this that you can fall into as a trap. But the beautiful thing is like you can get yourself out of it. And the biggest thing that I would love for you to do is not to shame yourself about it, but also just like because you are super self aware, dig into this. You are more than equipped to unpack that. And if you need to voice it out or process it or whatever, connect with me on Instagram. Like just send me a voice note or send me a message about it. And I would love to yap. Would love to yap. Needless to say though, anywhere I can support you, just slide in my DMs. Okay. So with that being said, that's the second advice. It's just there is a dark side to being super self aware, especially when it's not met with the right action, because we can get just really stuck all up in our heads. And that was another thing I wanted to bring up too. Sometimes it feels safer for us to exist in our head and in our thoughts and in the processing versus actually doing. And as I've mentioned before in previous episodes, and maybe even on this call already, but it's like our subconscious brain, our unconscious brain is wired to keep us safe. And a lot of times, safety is often confused with what's familiar and what's predictable. So if you're doing something you've never done before, you're gonna feel maybe some resistance, maybe some uncertainty, maybe some feelings like uncomfortable and discomfort that comes up. Not totally okay. Which leads me to my third advice, which is as often as you can, lean into the discomfort. Step out of your comfort zone. Okay. I know you're like, what? Like, I'm already retracting. Like, and that's okay. That's super normal. Like I said, anything new, anything you haven't done before, you're always going to feel and have a sense of like resistance around it. But it doesn't mean that it's a stop. It just means like, oh, okay, I'm feeling X, Y, and Z. I don't feel too comfortable. This is a little scary. Cool. Just name it. Just name the emotions that are coming up. I'm feeling this way. Cool. I'm feeling anxious about this. Cool. Totally fine. But it doesn't mean that you don't get to continue on and keep doing what you need to do. With that being said, though, the reason why I feel like it's so important to develop a positive relationship with discomfort or create a lot of opportunities for yourself to step out of your comfort zone is because I feel like this is where we truly get to grow the most. Like, I feel like the fastest, right? And so, like, we get to create those opportunities for us. And also, when the opportunity comes up, we need to lean into it and know that it's going to be okay. Because I can guarantee, like, you've probably experienced so many uncomfortable situations before, or so many things where you're just like, oh my God, I don't understand. But you came out of it just fine. And so you can do it again and again and again. So, yeah, give yourself the gift of leaning into the discomfort a little bit more, because I think you'll come to learn a lot about yourself. And I don't know about you, maybe it's just me, but I love learning more and more about myself as a self-help, personal development, nonfiction reading girly. Don't get it twisted though, okay? Because I do be reading my romantasy too. I do both, babe. I do both. I read nonfiction and fiction. Now, what about it? What you gonna say? Nothing. Exactly. Period. Okay. The fourth advice I have for you is your current live reality is the sum of all the choices that you've made in your life. whether intentionally or unintentionally, which is why it's always so important to make sure that you are acting in alignment with your future you, especially if that's what you're working towards, right? And guess what? Not making a choice is still a choice. With that being said, though, your current life is the byproduct of the choices that you've made in the past. Okay. And so, in this current moment, if you want a different live reality for yourself, you have to start with the choices that you're making. And a lot of times, too, I would even argue that it also starts even with the mindset piece of it, like the attitude that you have. And if you really want to get into it, it's the beliefs. It's the beliefs. Topic for another day, though. Now, the last advice I have for you is have big D energy. Shout out to my friend Josh for coining this. Big D energy, as in big discernment energy. Mm. Mm. The thing about having big discernment energy is that you recognize that not every thought, feelings, or emotions are the truth. Also, you get to be able to determine like not every choice is actually aligned. And of course, it was aligned to your current version temporarily, right? But like, I'm more so talking about like, not every choice is aligned with the future you. If you're currently working towards a goal that you have, or you're working to grow and evolve as a person, as a woman, there are moments where you're going to make choices that feels right, that feels aligned, but you have to ask yourself, okay, big discernment energy, is this aligned with the current version of myself that's keeping me here? Is this aligned with the person that I'm trying to grow, or is it aligned with the future me, the future you? Like, is it aligned with that? And I think that you get to decide how you want to show up and how you want to act and how you want to behave and what choices you're going to make once you are able to sit here and like just pause for a second and just be like, well, is this decision I'm about to make, is how I'm about to approach this, is this aligned with who I'm becoming? Or is this more aligned with who I'm currently am right now? And there is nothing wrong if you chose to go with, I'm just going to choose to have, I'm going to choose what's aligned with my current version right now. That gets to be okay too. I think the biggest mistake that you can make is that you make that decision, but then you're riddled with guilt. You're riddled with shame. No, I think you need to own it. Like, if you're going to make a choice, if you make a conscientious choice that is aligned with either the current version of yourself or the version of yourself that you're trying to evolve or grow out of or outgrow, you need to take full accountability without the shame and the guilt. Like, own up to it. It's okay. Because the beautiful thing is, as if you're not okay with like, I'm like, you know what? I'm done doing that. Like, I want to push myself out of my comfort zone. I want to do something different. I want to achieve. I want to see what I can actually do. Amazing. Then you get to align the choices that you make. Like, you get to actually sit here and choose differently, act differently, behave differently so that it's more aligned with the future version of yourself. But like I said, if you happen to choose what's comfortable for you right now, if you're choosing to stay exactly where you're at right now, if you're not quite ready, that is okay. It is totally fine. I think that with every choice that we make, if it's a conscientious choice, stop shaming yourself for doing it. Stop guilting yourself for doing it. Like, how dare you make yourself feel bad for a choice that you made consciously? No, own up to it and then move on. Like, own up and move on. Stop with this wow, woe is me shit. Like, oh my God. No, absolutely not. Let's go do something about it. But the most important part about having big discernment energy is that it allows you to filter out the noise. And there's so much noise that you can literally get lost in all the sauce. It also helps you recognize the patterns within yourself, within the people that you surround yourself in, within the things that you do. And it helps you build more self-awareness in that too. But you also get to decide, like, how do I move forward with this? How do I show up in ways that actually serves the future version of myself that I'm working towards? How do I show up that best supports me, not just in the moment, but also in the future? Because that is possible, by the way. It's not a this or that. It's just not common, but it happens. Nonetheless, having big discernment energy allows you to be able to tune into yourself and make choices and decisions that is so aligned with you, not just temporarily. Those are the 5 advice that I have for you, and I hope that you found tons of value in it. I am curious though, what are some of your insights? So if you want to leave that in the comment section or reach out to me and let me know, I would love that so much. Just shoot me a message on Instagram, slide in my DMs and do your thing. I am curious though, out of all the 5 advice that I have, what is the one that hit you the most? Like, what is the one that helped you the most? So you were like, yeah, I needed to hear that. That was something I needed to hear today. Or like, yeah, I was just curious. Just let me know. Shoot me a message. That'd be really dope. So just a recap on the 5 advice. Number 1, talk yourself into it. Okay. If you want to have a better follow through with your commitments, talk yourself into it as much as you talk yourself out of it. Okay. Amazing. Because chances are you already know what you need to do. Okay. It's just about getting it done. It's making sure you put your money where your mouth is type stuff, you know? Second, there is a dark side of being super self aware. It's nothing for you to be scared of, it's just something to be aware of. So if you're in it, you can at least do something about it. Okay. The third one, I need you to get into a habit of choosing discomfort more often. Step out of your comfort zone. It's okay. You're going to be fine. You're going to be okay. 4 is your current live reality is the sum of all your choices. The 5th, please have big discernment energy and do things and make choices and do the things that serves you, that aligns with you, the better version of you. Look, I don't want this podcast to be just another place for you to collect information, to grow your knowledge and all of it. And there's nothing wrong with that in and of itself. I think the issue is when we get in the habit of collecting information, learning, and expanding our knowledge and stuff, but you're not backing it up with action. Like if you are not putting it to work, what the heck? That's another trap, by the way. That's just another trap. Like we get so wrapped up in the learning. But like, when was the last time you actually took what you learned and put it to practice? When was the last time you took what you learned and your newfound wisdom and actually put it to practice consistently enough to get the results that you were intending to get from it? I never want you to make this podcast just another shelf help, that's what they call like books that you buy, never read, and it just sits on your shelf collecting dust. Like your whole TBR is collecting dust. And if you're self-help girly or you read nonfiction, business book, or personal development, self-development books, like, yeah, that becomes self-help. So please don't let this podcast be just another one of those. Like, I want you to know that as I'm sharing this advice, like obviously take it or leave it if it serves you. However, if there's something that resonates, something that hits, please take the strategies and run with it and do something and just apply it and see just how consistently you can actually practice it. I think consistency doesn't even need to mean that you're going to do it every freaking day, but it's just like you create more and more opportunities for yourself to practice it. Like, for example, like talking yourself into it. Like any single time you hear an excuse or you hear some justification as to why you can't commit to the things that you said you were going to do and that you know is going to help you, that gets to be your practice ground. Now you get to practice talking yourself into it. What does that get to look like? You just talk yourself into it. Even the discomfort, right? Like if you're given the opportunity to step out of your comfort zone, you lean into it. Amazing. And even like with the discernment, right? Just pausing to ask yourself, like, am I choosing in alignment with my future self, the one that I'm working towards and the one I'm becoming? Or am I choosing in alignment with what's keeping me safe right now? Like keeping me in the current version of myself, keeping me playing small, whatever. Right. And so just kind of ask yourself, pause and reflect and ask yourself, and then choose what truly feels aligned with you. You can't go wrong with any decisions that you make when it comes to that kind of stuff, because as long as you back it up with like accountability and fully owning the decisions that you make, I would hope that you would find peace in it. So, yeah, with this podcast, please don't allow it to just be a place where you get a bunch of like, insights and strategies and tips and downloads, and then it goes nowhere because we're not necessarily bringing it to life. You're not applying it. You're not executing on those things. And the most important thing that you need to do with the knowledge is to put it to action. So with that being said, pick one and apply it. Okay. And I want to hear all about it. So shoot me a message on Instagram or just leave me a comment in this if you're on Spotify or YouTube. I appreciate it greatly. Thank you again for tuning in to another episode on the Gem Fitness Podcast. Have a great day. Be freaking amazing. And don't let anybody get in the way of you becoming the best version of yourself. Love you. Bye-bye.